What's up, YouTube family? I'm back with another video. And in this segment, I feel like I have to show the differences when it comes to the bundle textures and before it's washed when you first get it and after it's washed and taken care of, because a lot of people say, okay, that's a 20 inch, I can't tell if it's a 20 inch, it'll fool me too because of the particular wave, which is a loose wave, and it has that wrap tight. But what I'm saying here, even with the frontal, once you wash the bundles for the first time and installing it, you will get that full length, that 20 inch, you'll be able to see it. Once you get that wash in, you're like, oh, okay. See how once I washed the loose wave, it stretched out like that. Like you couldn't even tell that that bundle that I just opened up after I washed it was the same exact hair. Okay, and I will also be making another unit with the 3 bundles and frontal loose wave bundles. And as you know, I kind of switched up my game, as in when it comes to making units. I still think I'm going to make them by hand, but I'm going to do a lot of them by sewing machine just to get the practice. But I'm going to switch up a couple things, such as the mesh cap. I'm not going to use that dome cap that I used last time because I found it so awkward in build and shape. So I'm going to stick with the mesh cap this time. But as usual, I'm still going to pin my frontal down first securely with the pins and begin to sew that part by hand. After I sew that by hand on the mannequin, I can kind of proceed to using the machine. But first and foremost, I'm just going to sew from right to left, from one side of the mannequin head on the frontal to the other side. Now, some of these stitches I have double knotted and some of them I haven't. I guess it just depends on the spot that I am sewing, whether I feel like it needs to be double knotted or not. But I wouldn't just single stitch everything through because the frontal is what's holding the entire unit together. So some of these I'm going to double knot them as I go. Now, my guidelines are not the best on this unit. This is my second time doing the guidelines with a white pencil, but once again, they are guidelines. It's just a kind of a view of where I want to put the track. I still may, add a little extra, add a little less, but it's a guideline of where I'm going to sew.
Sound right, boy.
Okay, now I must admit, I had a bit of a problem in the beginning. I think maybe it was easier the first time I did it because I wasn't so much as worried about messing up the quality of the hair. Since this is newer bundles and a brand new frontal, I'm a little bit more nervous of messing anything up, so I'm taking my time when I do this. And remember when I first bought the machine, I shared with you guys that I had to take it back to a lady to fix it, to get it working right, because I bought it used. And when I got it, it was jammed on me and it didn't work. Now, before the lady fixed the machine for me, she told me, don't break your needle. Okay, this is the first time I ended up breaking my needle on the machine, but luckily it wasn't too late. I had enough time to run to Joann's, which is the fabric store, and pick up some universal needles to be able to replace a new needle in and continue sewing the lace. Once I got the needle and I placed it back in the machine, it started to sew like a dream. I had a bit of a problem with switching the needles out, trying to find the correct needle that actually works in the machine. So it's a completely different process. So I had to slow down while I was doing it. So excuse me if you see me taking my time here because I have to make sure that I'm not sewing the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you guys too much more with an explanatory. Maybe I'll give a more detailed explanation in future videos when I've gotten way better at this. So I'm just going to continue rolling the clip and you can see me sew this onto the mesh cap and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done.
It sound right, boy.
Now, the only problem that I did have with using a single stitch on the sewing machine is I had a bit of a problem with the track slipping out of place. So every now and then I had to stop, lift the foot up, and straighten it out. That way I can get a clear sew and I'm on top of my track. Sometimes it'll flip off and I'm not on track anymore. Okay, so by the time I finished with my last track, this is pretty much what the unit looks like. I still haven't cut that one piece of band in the front, um, but it really didn't lose too much space on the inside from the sewing machine, which I'm really impressed with. It still fit perfectly on my mannequin head with no issues. I'm just going to show you what it looks like off the mannequin head, and I'm going to flip it inside out so you can get a chance to see the stitch working on it, which is a lot cleaner actually than doing it by hand, I must admit as well. And this extra piece from the mesh cap that's sewn to the frontal that's keeping the unit together, I'm just going to cut this extra piece because there's no use for it, especially if I'm going to lay it the frontal front. I'm still going to add an elastic band. I'm probably just not going to show you this in this video, but to get rid of that extra piece, I'm just going to cut that off, but not too close to my hand stitch work. That way I don't compromise the entire unit and it doesn't start coming apart within a month after I've washed it and applied it a few times. And now that I've cut that extra piece on the mesh cap, you'll see the difference in how it fits on the mannequin head. And I can add my elastic band so it fits firmly on top of my head. Okay, it looks like we're out of time. If you like this video, please hit like, comment, don't forget to subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for my next upcoming videos and tutorials.